back to Beards, Books, and Bourbon, everybody. I'm Steven.
And I'm Mark.
And we are here this evening in a frigid garage studio because in negative 41 degrees, we still like to sit outside and record.
That's right.
Beards, Books,
We're,
and
for me, with the diabetes, the neuropathy makes it so much easier for me. I don't feel anything.
I don't know.
Well, and for you, once the hypothermia sets in, you'll feel fine. You'll actually feel hot.
Be seeing pink elephants come through the door in a minute or two. That's where we're at. And maybe the bourbon will help me see that as well.
That's right.
My wife and family who are inside because they think that I'm completely lost my mind.
Well, you have. Yeah. We're both insane.
So we're good. We're good. And we are welcoming a friend and guest here tonight who we've met a couple of times already at some of the events that we attend up here in Grays Lake at some of the bourbon festivals, both the large one and the smaller one. Welcome, Sam Bergren. Did I pronounce your name right? I hope, yes?
You did. Spot on. Thank you.
Sam is the Illinois on-premise manager. I believe that's the title. Is that right? For Still Austin Distillery, and we are thrilled to have you here tonight. Welcome to our show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been looking forward to this ever since we kind of started running into each other. This is a lot of fun.
Us too. We have been looking forward to this. We, of course, are sitting outside. You, on the other hand, are sitting inside, nice and warm on this evening.
Well, and the funny thing is, we should share this with our listeners / viewers. Is that
we tried
at one point you said, "So, guys, am I coming out to you? Do you want to do an in-person thing?"
Yeah, right.
And we said we'd love to have you, but remember it's January and we do this in a garage.
Right.
And then you went, "Oh yeah, Zoom is good."
Here we are.
See, that was very kind of you to offer that reality check for me. At that point. Thank you.
Clearly, we don't take our own advice, so we're okay with that. But on the flip side of that, in July and August when we're recording, it's kind of hot in here, and that's all right.
Yeah.
We had talked about we have a third car garage over here in my home, and I would love to just turn that into a podcast studio. But we had been doing another interview, and the interviewee had told us that really we should just stick with just what we've got because it's part of the ambiance of our podcast.
Right.
So,
right.
I don't know. Even though I'd love to build a little studio over here,
you guys in your hats and parkas, it's like you show commitment, or poor judgment, one or the other.
All right, Sam, we're gonna let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, your role at Still Austin, kind of maybe what got you started in the industry, kind of your origin story with where you're at.
Awesome. Well, my name is Sam. I am the Illinois on-premise manager for Still Austin, and for those people who maybe not familiar with that title, that means that I handle all of the business for bars and restaurants in the state of Illinois.
Nice.
So that is my focus. I'm not working on getting us into any retail locations. That's actually my boss Eric's job. He is our state manager. So he handles all the big heavy lifting in that department. And I've been I've been working in a role similar to this for about a decade now. I was with a much smaller distillery out of Iowa for a number of years prior to this, and then prior to that, I was working in bars and restaurants, and it's actually a pretty common story for somebody in my situation where I've been working in bars and restaurants my whole life.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get to a point where you can either continue with that or you can kind of move into something a little more adjacent. And so I had an opportunity to come and work for this other distillery all those years ago. And then now I'm still here doing this, but now for Still Austin, which is a really great opportunity. I mean, this company is really, really something. And as you've tasted in the whiskey, they're making some pretty good juice. So
I mean, obviously, one of our first tastes of this, I believe, was probably with you
Oh
when we
yeah,
explore
yeah.
when we explored that 2 years ago, maybe
Yeah, I
now,
think it was.
the first time we
Yeah,
met
it was
you.
2 years ago. Yep.
So I wanted to land on you said, your particular focus is restaurants and establishments, right?
Yeah.
And when we drop these episodes now in this season, we've interviewed a couple of other distillers now prior to tonight. And you are the first one, the only one so far that has that perspective of the business.
Okay. All
What's
right.
different
Cool.
for you? What's different for you being in that space with the restaurants and the purveyors and the pubs and the locations
Because
where people
Yeah.
come to
you're kind of
experience the bourbon,
in the
right?
trenches, right?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
you're you're smack dab in the middle of the different
I'm
communities.
right.
yeah, I'm in a
Tell us.
I'm in a pretty particular theater of war, if you will, as
Yeah,
far
yeah,
as the, speaking, purely from a business perspective. Um, the distillers are usually really are good at what they do, and they kind of have their lane. And so, for what I do, really a lot of the value that I bring to my position is really just experience in language, a shorthand with a lot of the people that I've never met before, but because we
yeah.
are from
Right.
similar backgrounds, we already kind of understand each other right away. And um, so really it kind of makes it easy for me to introduce something new to somebody who may have never heard of Still Awesome before, or more often than not, they might have heard of us, but a lot of these restaurant managers and bar managers, they are constantly being bombarded with people coming in to try to, peddle their wares to them.
Sure.
And so,
Sure.
um, that can develop some interesting personalities in some people,
I
as
believe it.
we're all
Sure.
humans. So everybody's going to react to that situation differently. And so anyway, what I kind of, to reiterate, what I do is I go in and I already bring an enthusiasm for the brand. I'm already very much, I've drank the Kool-Aid, as you will, for Still Austin, and then I know how to communicate that excitement to, the people that can be like, okay, well, here's a platform for you to perform, and let's see where, these whiskeys can really thrive, and let's ultimately see how, our fellow whiskey lovers respond to it. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the ultimate test. Once you get it
yeah.
into a restaurant or a bar and it goes on a cocktail menu, and if people really respond well, I mean, that's literally how a brand will, take off and go from being, a couple thousand case a year brand to like, we're actually fortunate we hit the 100,000 case mark this year company
Wow.
wide.
Nice.
So,
Fantastic. Congratulations. Yeah, that's
Congratulations.
awesome. So that's fascinating too, because
well,
you're
thank
like
you.
Mark said, you're in the trenches. You see the link that the bourbon makes for the communities and the people that come in to a particular location to dine and to pair up with the drinks that they like to have and the bourbons that they like to have. So you've got a different
Yeah,
you have a different feel for it than than the distillers who are on the distillery floor and and filling the barrels, right? And here
for sure.
Right.
you've got the front end
Yeah.
part of it where you're going to see who connects with it and how they connect with it.
Yeah, I also take a lot of credit for a lot of other people's work too in my job, because if people come and if they love the whiskey, I get to be the one to hear it. And so
Right, well,
I
for
I
sure,
do
for
my
sure.
best to relay that back to headquarters, if
Right.
you will, and so then everybody, you know, can experience that. But it's a pretty cool spot to be, and I really love what I do. So.
So what does your day to day look like then? How many places are you visiting? What are you checking in on? Where do what's something that would surprise us that your role has that we haven't heard before on our interviews?
Um, well, My my day can kind of consist of any combination of up to a dozen things, where some of it is a little bit, it's office work, doing emails, and also interacting with our distributor partners, and
Yep.
people come to me with some issues that might need that they might need help with. And then also it could be I need to go and I have to go home and get a frozen cocktail machine from my house because it was
Yeah.
just delivered there and FedEx delivered it, or
Yeah, right.
like just
Right.
weird stuff like that,
Yeah, you gotta do, yeah.
or the spring we're sponsoring a heavy metal music festival, and so I'm
Oh,
going to
Oh,
be
awesome.
posted up at a couple music venues, and then I'm gonna be, spreading the good word of Still Austin there, or I could be on my third or fourth visit trying to talk to the buyer at you name X restaurant, whatever, and
right.
I'm just
Right.
sitting at the bar waiting like a puppy for them to come out and pay attention to me. So
And talk a little bit, right? Or you could be up
it's
here.
kind of all over the place.
Yeah. Or you could be up here tasting in Gray's Lake where we get to see you, or on a
Yeah,
podcast interview in the evening, right? On a
exactly.
cold
Yeah.
night, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide spectrum of stuff, which is one of the things I love about it. So,
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So how often are you on the road?
with this particular role, I'm mostly in the city. That's kind of where our team has decided that they want me to concentrate my efforts. And
Sure.
so
Yeah.
I'm really sticking to the city boundary. But as you guys know, the Chicagoland area is quite expansive, and so I will be. I do venture out into the suburbs and things somewhat often. I would like to be able to get out more often than I do
Yeah.
because I have a lot of pals out there that I've made over the years. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I definitely want to meet up with you guys next time I'm out in Gray's Lake for
That'd be
sure. And
fantastic.
then
Yeah,
That would be
absolutely.
fantastic. Yeah.
Absolutely.
and and then I'll have to do like some kind of outstate stuff, maybe a couple times a quarter, really. So,
Yeah.
The only reason why I ask is because a thousand years ago I had a job where uh, my office was in Lamont. And so it was
okay,
120
yeah.
miles every day just to
Yep.
check my email.
Yep.
And that didn't, and
Oh,
I had a kind of an inside sales job where I met with different clients. And so I would drive down there at like 5:36 in the morning, check my email, and then I would slowly begin my way ping-ponging back north towards my house. And so by the time I got home, I would put on anywhere from 150 to 200 miles on my car
Yeah.
in a single
yeah.
day. That's why I asked about how
Oh
often
my
you're on the
gosh.
road, because that I don't do that
Yeah.
job anymore.
Yeah.
No, that's one reason why that's one of the perks of my current role is that I fortunately I won't be putting that many miles on my car. In previous roles in another life, I was the ragtag. Well, it looks like I'm driving to Springfield today, like
Right.
kind of
Yep.
Right.
thing, and
Yep.
putting a lot of
Cool.
miles on a
Well,
car. But man, that's a lot for a one way just to
one
check some
job,
emails. Man,
right?
Well, that was
that is
before you
nuts.
could actually get your email on your phone securely or at all.
Right.
And so,
Hmm.
it was a secure network that I was on for my job. And so you had to go to your assigned ID tagged station. So it's not like I could even go to another office and check my
Oh
email
yeah.
from there. I had to drive, 60 miles down to Lamont
Yeah.
to
Time,
to check my email.
That is
times have
nuts.
changed.
To go to
Times have
your
changed.
terminal, they said this is the only one you can use.
Yes, yes, absolutely. My
Wow.
terminal was the only terminal that I could use. It was psychotic.
So tell us
That is so nuts to think about.
pitch Still Austin to our listeners. What is the story
Okay.
that you live and that you enjoy and that we both have come to enjoy with the bourbons that we have tasted, with the products that we have tasted
Right.
that you've let us
Yeah,
taste, and what we're looking forward to tasting tonight too with the rye.
because
For sure.
the show is actually called Beards, Books, and Bourbon, but we're not focusing on a book tonight because
Right.
what we want to do is we really want to kind of focus on the story of Still Austin.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Thank you. So our story begins back in 2016, and uh, just a little context. We are a totally independent and family-owned and operated company. And back in 20, well, really like 2014, 2015, Cleveland Seals was a retired Sunkist executive, and he, in his newly found free time, got into distilling, found a real
As you
passion
do,
for
as you do.
whiskey, and
Right.
as you do. And so, anyway, he was looking for, excuses to spend more time with his son Chris, and got his son Chris Seals very into whiskey, and really kind of fueled the fire for that passion with him. And then at one point, um, Chris's dad, Cleveland, said, "Hey, I think we should start a distillery." And Chris, by trade, is was a very successful economist, and so his initial reaction was, "Dad, you're crazy. What do you think? We're just going to start a distillery, you know?"
Right.
And so, anyway, Chris wound up doing some more research and really kind of going down a whole rabbit hole with this. And they wound up sort of courting our blender, Nancy Fraley, who I'm not sure if you're familiar with who she is, but she is one of the most highly sought after spirits blenders in the world. Sure,
Yeah.
her accolades are pretty nuts. She's got one of the most dialed in palettes of any human. A reference that my boss Eric likes to make is, do you know that part in Napoleon Dynamite when Napoleon's like trying the different milks to see what's
Yes.
wrong with them?
Yes.
She
Yes.
can do that. She'll try a whiskey and compare two glasses of the same whiskey but from different barrels, and then she'll be like, "This barrel was way too close to like a raspberry patch. I'm getting some of that
Oh my
fruit
In
gosh.
texture
there.
in this one as opposed to, like it's crazy what she can do."
That's
And
amazing.
so
That's amazing.
anyway, while they were looking into it and going to the American Distilling Institute where she was a professor, she um, well, they asked her, would you come on and distill for us? And then she kind of gave them an impossible set of circumstances, like, if you fulfill this,
Yeah.
then I'm on board, and not really thinking they would do it. And then, sure enough, a few years later, they had accomplished these things, and they included what type of still to get. They contracted out a awesome high efficiency 42-foot column still
Yeah.
Yeah.
from Forsyth
That's
Stills out
Paul.
of Scotland. Gorgeous, and it's the first high efficiency still installed in the state of Texas, which is pretty interesting.
Wow.
And then she was very adamant about what grains we were going to use, and so Cleveland and Chris spent a couple years developing a little grain economy within Texas. So all the grains that we use are all non-GMO and or heritage grade grains. We don't have any like feed or ethanol, quality grains going into our whiskeys. You can actually buy everything in these bottles in a grocery store,
Right.
which is really cool. And so, and also we've made a lot of strides into really improving the carbon footprint and reducing our environmental impact company wide as far as our production goes. And so, anyway, um, Nancy came on board, and then we started going, and it's just been it's been really something for me to see, because I'm newer to the company, but my boss Eric has been with them since they launched in the Illinois market. And so I've kind of watched from the sidelines this company start, literally from ground zero in Illinois, and then turn into something that it is now. And I'm really just kind of holding on for dear life for this ride. I mean, it's been doing great. Everybody's been responding so well to it, and I know I apologize for rambling here, but
Not at all. Not at all.
I love it when people compare our whiskeys to, your traditional like Texas whiskey or Kentucky whiskeys, or even like stuff of MGP quality. And then
Sure.
we tell them that our whiskey is 3 years old, and they're like, "Holy crap!" You
Right.
try it, and um, it's a real testament to the thoughtfulness that goes into making all the whiskeys that we produce. Everything's 100% intentional. There's no accidents, and it's the best case scenario of trying to take what you have growing around you, along with the best techniques at your disposal, and then just seeing what happens. And it's really something. It's really something to
Yeah.
behold.
It really is, and we enjoy the fact that we got into this and have kind of an in with you to be able to talk about this because one of our goals for this season. So we've been doing this is our sixth season, right? And we may have mentioned this when we met you, but we got into doing podcasting when we were in COVID because our families kind of we shared a bubble,
Right.
and we
Bubble
we
pop,
both
Yeah,
have
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
we both have three kids, almost the same ages, and when that whole thing came down, and Mark and I are avid readers, and we love bourbon, and when we met, we just, we were meeting in Mark's backyard or my front yard or whatever, and just enjoying bourbon and talking about books,
Yep.
and and then COVID hit, and we're like, let's sit in the garage and see if people actually want to listen to us,
Right. Right.
and then
Right.
we spent
Something kind of along the lines of, you know what we should do?
right.
We should
Talk.
we should record ourselves and
That's right.
see if we're
Yep.
as funny as we think we are the next day.
That's right. That's right. And
Those
and
are
it became something became a
yeah.
passion project for us for 5 years. And then for this year, when we saw you in September for the Bourbon Fest, Mike had let us. We know him really well, and he asked us to come in before the ticketed people came in, so that we could set up these appointments with all the
Oh,
distillers
that's awesome.
Yeah.
and really take the podcast in a new direction. So, our first episode of the year drops in a week, which is just one of our regular episodes, and then we have a long series of authors that we're interviewing and distillers,
Yep.
and bourbon companies, and it's a great new chapter for us as well here. And
It's all new stuff.
still Austin is one of the ones that we discovered in like season 4 and 5 that we just explored and made it part of our I don't know if you can see our large collection over here in the back. We've got about 165
Oh, I
bottles
noticed
here,
that before. Yeah.
and it's just one of the ones. It's one of the bourbons. It's one of the juices, as we say, right?
Yes.
That we've really enjoyed. Like I was just for dinner last night at the Vine because my wife and I dropped off our daughter, and she and I stopped at the Vine, and I had a Still Austin. I was good. I was
Oh,
good for
thank
the
you.
evening. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's fun. It's fun. So I love the website. I wanted to
wonderful.
comment on the website because we've been on and off the website for the past few months, just kind of exploring. Tell us a little bit about the labeling before we get into the first taste of the bourbon.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the labeling
For
because
sure.
it's unique. It's unique with the bird, which I see on your shirt as well. And of course, we have
Yeah.
a bottle of the straight bourbon, the musician, and then we're doing the artist, which is the straight rye that you sent us, which is fantastic.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. So one of the things that we want to sort of embody with our branding is really just that creative spirit and culture that is Austin. All the harkening all the way back to the earliest days of Keep Austin Weird.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really
yeah.
just an epicenter, of it's the live music capital of the world. There's so much culture and creativity there still, and so we want to have our whiskeys kind of be a representation of that. And obviously, we're a 100% Texas product and utilizing that terroir, but also with the labeling, we sought out Austin native Mark Burkhart.
Okay.
He's a world-renowned painter. All these labels. I'm sorry, I'm looking over here. I have the bottles over here too.
Yeah, and I've got
and
the
so-
website up and the bottles behind us.
Yeah.
Awesome. So all on these labels, these are all oil paintings that Mark has done.
Are they
And,
really?
his work has appeared in a lot of marketing for luxury brands. He's done stuff for Porsche, Gucci, a
Wow.
lot of really kind of high profile brands. But he's also a Grammy winner, believe it or not.
Really?
there's a Grammy category for best compilation packaging. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact verbiage for it, but
Okay.
essentially that if you release a box set or a compilation of some kind, um,
The
if
artwork on
the
there.
artwork is outstanding, you can get a Grammy for that. And so he actually won a Grammy because he designed Johnny Cash's box set when it came
Oh
out.
wow,
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's super cool.
That,
And then I appreciate you noticing the red summer tanager bird.
yes,
That's essentially our Nike swoosh, if you will. So that's
sure.
I
going to
love
be the
that.
thing that we want people to recognize wherever it pops up and be like, oh, that's obviously something to do with Still Austin. And this bird in particular is a migratory bird found in Texas, and its migratory pattern really mirrors where the path our grain takes from northern Texas and comes all the way down to Austin to
I love
us.
that. I
That's
love that.
that's
I
cool.
love that.
That's really cool.
Yeah. That,
I love it when the artwork has intentionality like that, that it's actually
For
saying
sure.
something. That's so
and
cool.
we got one of your stickers up here on our shelf as well. We got
We
a
do.
line,
Oh, that's
kind of
awesome.
line of
Thank you.
stickers. So we got, yeah. So I was looking to see if the breast, sure enough, is there. Yeah, of course, naturally. I wonder if we'll win a Grammy. Maybe we'll win a Grammy one day for the podcast. Is there a
I mean,
podcast division in the Grammy?
I
Or
think
no, there might be
you can,
podcast awards. Those are separate. Those are separate.
I
Maybe.
think we're gonna
You know,
win
maybe
the
nothing.
William
Nothing.
Shatner
Yeah, nothing.
Memorial.
Yeah.
Oh God, why did they do this award?
Right.
You
Maybe.
know,
Yeah, you never know.
you know, for
You
spoken
never
word,
know.
you know,
the,
like when you
oh
did
That's right.
God,
Rocket
why
Man.
did they? Yeah.
That's right. That's right. You know, maybe, yeah, you never know. Maybe we'll break into it at some point. We'll get that. Shall we now? Seems like a good time to take a taste. Shall we start off
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
let's start off with the bourbon, which is the musician.
Cool.
Let's start there. We've got that. We've got that in our glasses and ready to go.
I've already been tasting, so
We've been tasting
I'm
it.
gonna put a
Me
little
too.
more in my glass.
Yeah, yeah. You can't have a podcast without drinking while we're there, right? Do you need a little more?
No.
I'll take a little more.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you again for being with us.
Oh no, thank you for having me.
God, this glass is cold,
I know, right?
but it's good. Oh,
So I have this little shtick that I do.
go ahead. Do that first, and then we'll
Let
talk.
me get this done, and
Then we'll talk.
then we'll continue on. Ooh, there's writing on the back, but you know what? Maybe I won't do it. Maybe I'll just have you talk about it instead. Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
Tonight's bourbon is Still Austin, the Musician, straight bourbon whiskey, 49.2% alcohol by volume, 98.4 proof. Still Austin straight bourbon whiskey. When a musician combines chords, rhythms, and melodies, the result taps into something deep inside us. And there's more, but you know, why don't we talk a little bit about it while we're sipping on it too?
For sure. For sure.
It's for me. It's a very clean pour for me. It's crisp, right?
Yeah.
It's got like a. I get a citrus flavor, right? I get a nice nose to that, right? And a crisp, clean pour, which I really, really love, like a tropical fruit on the back of my tongue. Right.
I love this here. We recommend putting on a record you love when
Oh,
you're
yeah.
sipping it. That's awesome.
We should while we're out here freezing
yeah.
our tushes off. Yeah. Yeah, we need some tropical music. We need some Bob Marley or something in the background while we're drinking. You know, it's such a smooth, clean, crisp taste for me
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
on this one.
Absolutely.
You know, I love that richness and that deepness in it.
Mhm.
Tell us about it. What do you have? What's the story in this one for you?
So, well, what I love about this whiskey in particular is kind of speaking to the clean sensation. It's incredibly well balanced.
Yes.
One of the things that we're trying to get across with this whiskey is we're kind of charged with a not impossible task, but we want this whiskey to appeal to not just people that are seeking out craft, that are seeking out the unique, but we want this to uh, be enjoyed by somebody who's like, I only drink Buffalo Trace,
Right.
or
Right.
whatever
Right.
brand like that, you know. which we are not going to please all those people. But this is going to accomplish the happy medium
Yeah.
essentially. And so you're getting like maybe a little bit of vanilla in there, but not like a Kentucky like vanilla bomb or
Right,
anything like
right,
Right.
right,
that.
right, right.
Hmm.
You are going to get some caramel. You are going to get some of these like kind of brown sugary notes and definitely a lot of fruit in there as well. And we also want to not just try to pacify people. We also want to highlight these wonderful grains that we are getting from Lone Star Family Farms. They're an independent family farm co-op that we get all of our grains from, all these high quality grains. And so we have all these crazy like fruit esters that we can kind of highlight and really use to kind of drive our whiskey towards this flavor profile. Um, and then also we're getting our barrels from the Independent Stave Company, and they're a very
Yeah.
environmentally conscious cooperage, and so we're getting these like wonderful trees making these barrels for us, and so we want to highlight all these like crazy wood tannins that we get out of these barrels. We want all
Right.
these delicious sugars out of these barrels, and so um, I just listed off a lot of things, and so that's a lot to like kind of keep
It's
even keel, you know. And so
Right.
trying to achieve a balance with that is 100%, what you're getting out of that.
and that blend, we share this story frequently because when we started the podcast 6 seasons ago now, if you go back and listen to our first couple episodes, which I hope you do, we reviewed Stephen King's The Shining and Doctor Sleep as our first two episodes, right?
Oh, rad.
And then we've gone from there, right? We've done hundreds of books now, right? And our our comments on the bourbon.
This bourbon tastes so bourbony.
It tastes so bourbony is what we that's where we
That's
started in our life, right? And
uh,
mind you, we both enjoyed bourbon, right? But I think we were kind of like what you just mentioned, right? We probably had I know that I had a bottle of Knob Creek, and maybe I had a bottle of Woodford or something like that,
Yeah.
that I had gotten as a gift or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah,
And this has really been a journey.
Jim
And
Beam and Maker's Mark.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, right. Which are all fine, good standard bourbon, right? And this podcast has been a journey for us because I feel like, I'm a teacher. Mark's wife is a teacher. I spend my career trying to share knowledge with my students, but I think talking to you, meeting you, tasting these bourbons, exploring these, like, this is our research panel behind us, right? And
of
where
course,
we've
yeah.
become more able to actually, like, we couldn't have this conversation with you 5 years ago, right? We would look like complete nubs, right? Because we
Oh,
were not, but it's such a fascinating story to be able to
Oh,
taste.
Steven, you're such a nub.
Right, right, yeah. So, but your story, what we love about what we're doing here with the interviews is getting these stories that deepen for our listeners really what this liquid is about.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
Now,
Well, thank you.
we have to keep in mind the fact that it's literally minus 10 in the garage right now. And
I
so the whiskey's very
It's
cold,
getting
right?
colder.
But but
It's still good.
but it is, well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's
Crisp
it's
and good.
so smooth and approachable.
Oh
It's
yeah.
so crisp. I could see, this is absolutely a perfect sipping whiskey.
Oh, it's great.
We could, I
It's approachable. You said it's
I
approachable.
don't need to put anything else in
yeah.
it. It doesn't kick me in the teeth. It gives me all the flavor.
Yep.
I taste
Yep.
that brown sugar right away.
Yep.
I get some
Hmm.
cinnamon in there as well, some of that baking spice kind of taste.
Totally.
There's definitely some fruit in there. It's not quite stone fruit. I get a little more citrusy, but I love that.
So the barrels are what are the barrels? What is it?
They're
White
they're 53-gallon white American oak
White
standard
American. Yeah.
bourbon
Yeah.
Yeah.
barrels
Yeah.
from Independent Stave Company.
Yeah.
And we love working with them. I mean, they just give us these fantastic barrels.
Well, it's interesting because as we've done this over the years, more and more we've started to hear people talk about the specific regionality of their product, right?
Yep.
Right.
A lot of the newer whiskey companies, the newer distillers are talking about things like that. We've heard the word terroir come up a few times
Yep.
now. Estate distilling has started to kind of become a thing,
Yep.
or working with exclusive partners has become a thing. So we know where all the ingredients come from and the land that it's on
Hmm.
and whatnot. And it occurs to me that that's something that the largest labels, I can't imagine that they're able to do because they have to do such
Yeah.
volume.
Yeah.
They've just got to get it where they can
Yep.
get it from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for us, we have always kind of leaned in the direction of uh, the smaller labels, the quirkier ideas, something that you wouldn't necessarily see sitting on the front of the shelf at your favorite bar. They might have it, but it's kind of over there, and you kind of want it to be closer to the center, right?
Yeah.
And we found more variety and more flavor and more experiences by going in that direction. And I think that's one of the reasons why that we like Still Austin is because I think it can go toe to toe with those larger mass market brands, and at the same time you are very much your own animal, and that's
Hmm.
fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, that's certainly something that we're trying to get across and kind of in the craft spirits world as a whole, you are hearing terroir come up more because that's going to be the thing that kind of sets us apart from these bigger brands, and also not even just to set us apart for the sake of being unique, but also just to kind of drive innovation as well.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think that this is just where the spirits world is going to be going. I mean, um, if you compare it to wine, obviously in old
Right.
world wines, like literally terroir makes every single, you know, classification of wine, every category of wine
Right.
over there. And so there's going to be kind of an American analogy to that in the whiskey world.
Well, and I think that this idea of terroir, right? I think in some ways it changes the game of the whiskey industry in general, because I think before, in our parents' time, certainly,
Yep.
there's only a few different labels of whiskey, and they're all kind of competing with each other. We're the best.
Hmm.
No, we're the best. No, we're the best. But with terroir, suddenly you don't have to care about the best anymore. All you have to care about is
Exactly.
being authentic and exclusive to what it is that you produce.
Right.
And
Yep.
it opens up the field, and now, you know, you don't have to compete for your audience anymore. You can share it
100%.
simply by talking about how you're different. We've got 170 bottles on the shelf, and we can find something different about every single one of them.
That's right.
And they're all
Hmm.
different various price points, but if they're on the shelf, it's because we like them.
Right.
From the
Yep.
from the $20 bottle up to the $120 bottle. I don't think we've got anything. Well, the one
No,
there was one
we've
that
got a
we
couple of.
there was one that we spent.
Yeah.
There was one.
We've got some. We've
There
got
was
some.
there was
We've got some.
There's
yeah.
always that one where
There
you're
was that
like, yeah,
one.
I
I
did
don't even.
it.
I don't even want to put that out there on the internet.
So when you take a sip of Still Austin, what is the story that hits you right away? You've told us the story of the founders and the master distiller and
Right.
the
42-foot
grains
column,
and the columns,
high efficiency
all the
column.
technical stuff and everything.
Yeah.
But we are a book and bourbon podcast. So one of our main flames here is the written word, the storyteller. When you take a sip of Still Austin, what is the story that resonates in your soul and in your mind?
Please put that into the form of an old English poem like
That's
Geoffrey
right.
Chaucer.
That's
Uh,
right. With stanzas
Right.
and
We need perfect
quatrains. Can we
iambic
have-
pentameter.
Okay. All right, right on.
That's right. That's right. That's
In
right.
in
That's right.
MLA format, I'll cite
Yeah,
my
that's right.
sources. And
That's
yeah.
right. My
Yes.
co-host is picking on me tonight, so we're gonna get a new co-host for the next time around.
Um, well, and anytime I take a drink of Still Austin, and I've taken quite a few at this point. I really the first thing that comes to mind is really I'm still kind of not necessarily, I don't want to say like in shock, but just from the context that I have and knowing that a craft distillery is putting out something that tastes as mature and complex as this, I'm just
Right.
really kind of thankful that this stepping stone, or can't think of the I'm sorry, I can't think of the words that I want to say, but I feel like we've really achieved something that whiskey as a whole, especially in the craft world where I've spent a lot of time, it just makes me really happy to know that it this part of the industry is in its infancy still,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that we're already putting out these very mature and complex things. And so when I taste how delicious this is, and I get these brown sugar notes that I want, I get this wonderful finish that I want, and also I could make a delicious cocktail with this too, and not
For
feel like
sure.
I'm,
Yep.
you know, diluting it, or not I'm disrespecting it somehow. You
Right.
know,
Right.
It
I
holds
feel
up to
like
the
it's actually
mechanisms
gonna
of the
make
cocktail. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna make my cocktail better. I think it's gonna make my friends who are bartenders, it's gonna make their cocktails better. And
Yeah.
so that's really the kind of story, is really just this egg of potential that I see like kind of hatching, if that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
I
sense.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. What about you? What's your story when you sip still Austin?
Potential in a glass. That's great. I like that
I like
idea.
the eggshell. I like the egg hatching. Yeah.
Hmm.
What's your story?
Mm.
And then I've got another question to follow up to that, but
Yeah.
we'll share our stories.
Brave Beowulf did lift his spear. No, I mean,
Hey, if
it,
it
it,
works, it works. To me, it reminds me of the summer festival, right? Like for me, partially because just obviously we met you there,
yep.
so that resonates in my
Yeah.
mind. It just as you always welcomed our questions, you always taught us something, you were willing then to be on our podcast, all that kind of great stuff. And when I sip still Austin, that's the memory it brings to me. It's the the Grays Lake Bourbon Festival
Right.
and enjoying it together at that event.
Well, we
You
have it
know,
at the Summer Bourbon Fest, but we
yeah,
also have it at the smaller
at the winter one too.
at the winter
That's right.
bourbon tasting as
That's right.
Mhm.
well. Right.
That's right.
And so really for me, whenever I have a sip of Still Awesome, I think about community and social gatherings, right?
Yeah,
And uh, that shared experience that is a positive shared experience,
that's right.
which seems to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
fairly rare these days.
That's
And
right. That's
so
right. We
when
need it.
we
We
when we
need
can
it.
have that, when we can have that opportunity to be with other people, to take our minds off the worries of the world,
Yep.
where we can and this is something that we've been talking about a little bit in this season as well, is the idea that good whiskey um, forces you to slow down
Yep.
and live in the moment, even as you're
Hmm.
kind of tasting the past, right? Because
Yep.
at least 2 years or 4 years or 6 years, whatever it is that you're drinking, you are literally drinking all the experiences that was distilled into it.
Yep.
And so that idea that we're experiencing history, but also living in the moment and doing that as a community together,
Yep.
I
Yes.
think those are the kinds of experiences that people need. We are
It
social creatures.
100%. It's reminiscent of it, experiencing like any type of art with somebody else.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's why I
Good
still want
point.
to go to a
Good point.
movie
Yeah.
theater to see a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I want to be able to see the other humans around me react to it, and see if my reaction, like compare my reaction to it. Like it's kind of an interesting way to communicate with other people too. Just
Yeah. For sure.
you're all experience, you have the same point of reference, and then everybody's going to have a slightly different experience with it, and that's interesting to me. I think that's really
And
fascinating.
I think that's important. We're going to open up the rye in a minute
Yes.
here,
Yep.
but I wanted to go back to something you just said a few moments ago. You said, it's going to make your cocktails better, right? It's an excellent bourbon that
Yeah,
holds up to the mechanics of a cocktail mixer. And then you said that your bartender friends, it's going to make their cocktails better.
yeah.
What are you hearing from the actual bartender, the ones that are making these cocktails, the ones that are pouring the Still Austin for their customers? What are you hearing from them?
The experience has been really incredible. Sometimes I'll meet a bartender, and know more about Still Austin than I do, and
Then
I'm
you do.
like, oh, all right.
And you're like, oh,
that's a
yeah.
new
Oh,
experience
Yeah.
for me.
super fan.
And
Huh?
so
Yeah.
I really like. I feel really fortunate to have that be in that position. But really, they a lot of times they're I don't want to say they're like jaded with the old with the legacy brands, if you will, but
Sure.
they've been around and they're not
Yeah.
going to change. They're
No.
they're doing one thing really well. They're going to stick to that, and that's great. I appreciate them for that reason.
Yep.
Um, but to have something new, something that is made in such a way that's like we said, very intentional, and then also the processes going into it being very well thought out, to uh, even just be like environmentally conscious, but then also seeing how we can really highlight the highest quality ingredients possible, and then have their Manhattan, their old fashioned, their Boulevardier, whatever, still
Yeah.
taste the way it's supposed to, but also having that just little bit of extra brightness to it, or a little bit extra deeper flavor to it, and whatever you want to do. Or um, it's really fun to see them like kind of nerd out about
Explore.
it, and then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
sit there
Yep.
and let them make drinks, and it's great. It's
Well, and
you know,
they're participating in that story, right? They're participating
exactly.
in
Yeah.
that building of that. So let's open up the rye, shall we?
Let's open up the
Let's
rye.
do it.
Because I'm this I we may have tasted it. I don't remember. We
Mm-mm.
may have tasted this. I don't
Oh,
think
maybe,
so.
maybe at the
Was it at the
Brewfest.
winter one, or was it
I
at the
think we
did you have
had both of these at the
at the
winter one. Yeah,
winter
Yeah.
one?
yeah.
Okay, so that might have been, yeah. So that's exciting, and thank you for setting that for us. And we
Oh, of course.
yeah, and thank you for taking the phone call from Benny's yesterday, because then Mark was the one that went instead of me, and
No, it's all good.
I was there.
close by.
I was bringing my daughter home from the orthodontist. I'm like, oh, Benny's is right there.
Let's stop at Benny's.
Let's just stop. This won't
It
be
works
awkward at
out.
all. Taking my
No.
13-year-old daughter into the
Not
liquor
at all.
store.
No,
It's fine.
No, it's not. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. It's all right. And I tell you, I am the only bourbon drinker in my family, and I'm pretty sure you are as well.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, my wife will not touch the stuff with a 10-foot pole, right?
Right on.
And who knows? I mean, my son is 15. Maybe when he's older, maybe
Well,
we'll
Yeah.
share a bourbon together. One of these days.
So my 15-year-old son, I had a Still Austin sticker as well. And he looks at it, he goes, hey, can I put this on my water bottle for school? Like, yeah, no, you
No.
cannot.
So the awkward thing, Sam, too, is so most of my career I was a university professor, right? And then
Wow.
about 8 years ago, I hopped over to a local high school up here in Wakanda, Illinois, and I teach French language and literature, and they asked me to come
Wow.
and build the program and all this kind of stuff. And so I jumped over, and I love it. I never thought I was going to be in the high school, but it's great. And but I also realized that teenagers these years, right? They're super hyper connected to the social media world, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so very quickly, within a couple of years, they became aware that their happy-go-lucky French teacher had a bourbon and book podcast. And so similar to where Mark
Interesting.
was, and they're listening, right? They're listening to it as teenagers, and I'm like, okay,
Oh
so
my
that presents a
gosh.
whole different level of interest. But whatever,
Normally we spend a
Yeah.
lot more time talking about a book.
we
right?
do, we
We
do
spend in a regular
Yeah.
episode, we spend about 45 minutes talking
on
about
the
a
book, and then the
about
bourbon comes
10,
in,
15
right?
minutes talking
Right.
about the bourbon.
But similar to what Mark was experiencing when he brought his daughter into Binny's to pick up the bottle, last year I had a student who was a senior and he was graduating, and he said, "Hey, you know what, Dr. Mack, for Teacher Appreciation Week, can I bring you a bottle of bourbon?" And I said, you know what? His name was Alex. I'm like, Alex, let's unpack that for a moment. I said,
That
as generous and thoughtful as that is, the bottom line is you won't have a French teacher on Monday if you bring me a bottle
Yeah.
of bourbon.
Right, exactly.
that was a
you know,
teachable moment.
That's game over right there,
Oh, man.
But there's always a story that happens with, what we're doing and who the people who we're talking to, like yourself. And that's
Right.
and that's the really, really fun part. And it's the really exciting part of what we're doing in season 6 here. It's really cool.
Awesome.
All right, launch into the reading of the rye here.
All right, here we go.
Yep.
Tonight's rye is Still Austin, the Artist, straight rye whiskey. 49.8% alcohol by volume, 99.6 proof. And then it says, this lively whiskey made from 100% Texas-grown rye grains represents Still Austin's affection for the artist, that mischievous, fearless soul who strives every day to make our city more unique and unpredictable. The rye's dark amber hue foretells a complex nose with hints of honey, cherries, fig, clove, and coffee. The palette of spicy chocolate, apricot, sandalwood, ginger, and caramel gives way to lingering after impressions of cinnamon, molasses, nutmeg, and orange zest.
Love that. Love that. I also love the
up.
fact that the artwork is animated on your
On the
your
website? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Oh yeah,
That's very cool.
That's super cool.
All right,
That's
let's taste
super
this.
cool. All right, yeah.
that's our marketing team. We got
Cheers.
the best. Cheers.
Cheers to the marketing team.
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that wonderful?
Wow.
Sam, that is complex. That is layered.
There is a lot
That is
going on.
layered. That
It's
is
not just
deeply
a
layered.
black pepper bomb,
No,
allspice
no,
bomb
no,
on you.
no,
It's just-
heck, no way. No way. God, I'm going in for another second.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm going in.
God, that has so many layers. I get the clove right off the bat.
Mhm.
So
I get the clove and the cherry,
when we started
and
the
then the chocolate at the end.
when we started the podcast, rye has always been a favorite of Mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never
sure.
opposed rye, but I was always more of the, either the straight blend or the cask strength or the whatever.
Yeah.
I tell you, over the past couple of years now, season 5, season 6 now,
Yep.
I'm on board
Yeah.
with these ryes like I've never been before, and this is
We got to a point.
this is complex.
We got to a point where I would go to the liquor store and walk down the aisle and go,
Yeah.
we've had that, 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 we've had that. I don't want to have that. We've had
Yeah.
that.
White dog.
I can't afford that.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
yet, not
Yeah.
yet.
And
When we win our Grammy,
right, exactly. And so finally, I said, you know what? I know that bourbon's his favorite, but I went around the corner to the rye aisle and I
Yeah.
just started picking those up. And
Mhm.
and at one point
Well-
he goes, "Isn't this the third rye in a row that
Yeah.
you've bought?"
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yes, it is. Drink it.
but man, I've always enjoyed them, but I am more of a convert now than I've ever been before.
Yeah, absolutely.
It-
We kind of went
it
down
is-
the rabbit hole by necessity.
Oh, that's awesome.
This
Well,
is
we
complex. This is layered.
it's pretty incredible what they've been able to do with this rye. It's actually made from two cool things. It's a 100% rye mash bill, which you
Yeah,
don't really
yeah.
see too often
No,
out
you
in the
don't.
market.
No, you don't.
A mash of rye is notoriously difficult to work with because the consistency quickly turns into something akin to like oatmeal that's been sitting out, and so you can't really stir it. Like physically, you
Right.
just can't move it around at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah.
And so, what a lot of people or a lot of producers have done, they'll incorporate some malted barley for those enzymes to help it break up, so you can actually
Sure.
work with it. It's not necessarily because of any sort of flavor or aromatics that they're going after.
Yeah.
But with ours, we are using a heirloom strain of rye called Bracetto,
Okay.
which is an incredibly hardy strain of rye. It's great for our farmers to grow because they can kind of grow it during the off months. And you don't need to
nice.
grow a cover crop next to it either. So
Yeah.
it's the perfect kind of filler grain for when there's like that little gap in between planting and harvesting, the next
Sure.
round of stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's also where we get the complexity because all those wonderful sugars in there, all those wonderful fruit esters in there, that's what we're getting out of those grains. And that's what's driving this whiskey really to be what it is. And then also Nancy, our blender, said that this one tastes the best. So that's what we're going to make.
Oh my God. Well,
know?
I mean, if I have to agree with any expert in the field, I would agree with her.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I don't think I've tasted that level of layering before. I see all, of course, the tasting notes and everything, but I'm getting a rich, deep profile.
Well,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is funny because
What I,
I get, I get the cherries in the coffee, and
mhm.
I taste the chocolate, and I don't know how to do this, but somehow I do actually taste sandalwood. I don't.
So,
Yeah, I could see
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
so that's what I was gonna. So that's what I
sandal.
was gonna say. But maybe I'm getting the nose, and it's tricking my palate into tasting
Yeah,
that.
I mean, sandalwood was like the staple of most college dorm rooms in for incense in my day.
Oh, of
And
course.
candles,
Yeah.
right, right,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
Right,
Of
exactly.
course.
I had a couple of dorm neighbors across the way from me who they had tinfoiled their windows, and
Yeah, yeah.
they had erected a maze inside of the dorm room so that when campus security came looking for them, they had enough time to hide all their pot.
Right,
Oh
right.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, the
But
things that people used to have to do,
Mhm.
just to
Right, exactly.
just to
And they
get through
burned a
college.
lot of incense.
That's right.
The
Yeah,
Yeah.
whole hallway
A lot
smelled
of
like
Nag
sandalwood.
Champa. Yeah.
Yeah.
gotta do it. But
Yeah, I definitely
there's a richness to this one,
Well, and it's so amazing that there is such a rich flavor, and
yeah,
it's only one grain.
and it's only one grain.
That it's
mhm.
all 100% rye.
It's got that umami flavor, like that
Yeah.
unctuous flavor
Yeah,
to it, right?
absolutely.
Totally.
That
Totally.
that kind of
Yeah.
that yeah that really deep flavor to it.
Well, and
Compared to the bourbon, right, which was that light, crispy, fruity, tropical.
Yeah.
yeah, there's
you
more
know,
going on with this.
yeah,
It's also it's interesting again because it's so cold in the garage.
yes,
It's
well,
hard to tell, but when I was pouring this, it was very viscous, kind of oily
yeah,
as it's pouring
Yep.
out of the
yeah.
bottle. I'm going,
Oh yeah.
how much of that is the rye itself, and how much of that is the temperature in here?
Well, maybe it shouldn't be. I mean, I'm frozen from the waist down, so I can't feel anything from the waist down to my feet at this point.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
relying on the bourbon to keep me warm at this point.
Yes.
Right, right on. Well, I
Right?
appreciate you guys
Yeah,
being troopers and being out there and
that's right.
still doing this
Oh
for
no,
me. Thank
you
you.
you know what? We're just
That's
insane. That's all.
That's right.
no.
You see us in September, and we're in shorts and and tropical
Oh yeah.
shirts, and then
Right.
and then this.
Like any good artist, we must suffer for what we do.
I guess I
That's
don't know if
true.
that's what we're calling it. Yeah, but whatever,
No,
whatever.
nothing comes easy. Yeah.
Gosh,
Nothing comes easy.
Thank you for that bottle because that is
Of course.
a really great addition to our collection that
Yeah,
that we are going to enjoy.
That is really great.
Yeah,
Is her hair on fire?
well, a little bit,
It is. It is.
Oh my,
a little bit.
that's awesome.
So-
In this one, yes, in this one, no, but yes, we got
Yes, that is so cool. That is so cool. So that brings up a thought that I had a little bit earlier, a few minutes ago, was that I would love to do a social experiment where you have a gallery showing somewhere, right?
Okay.
But what you put up is you put up the artwork for all the different craft distilleries out there and all that really gorgeous artwork that they've all done. Maybe strip out the
Oh, I love
names
that.
from the labels and whatnot, but post that artwork up on the walls and see what people's reactions are when they don't equate it to the whiskey industry
Yeah,
specifically.
Yeah.
And, because I think a lot of these labels that we've seen over the last few years, the quality of the artistic expression is such that I think that they're just great pieces of art on their
Yeah.
own. And I'm the kind of guy where when I'm in the liquor store, I'm going down the aisle, I will freely admit it. When I see a label that catches my eye,
Oh yeah,
I will automatically pick it up and look at it. There's been a few
100%.
times where
Yeah.
that's the whole point, right?
yeah. And there's
Yeah.
been a few times
Yeah.
where I've bought a bottle strictly on the basis of,
Yeah.
I don't care if this tastes like trash. I just want the label.
Exactly. I've done that with whiskey. I've especially done that with records. You
Yeah.
see a
Oh,
cool
yeah.
album artwork, you're like, oh, I don't know what this is, but I really want this in my
Well, you can't. I
collection.
mean, you can't get
Yeah.
any. I just read an article. I was just reading an article about album covers, and in the article, the author, I think this was the New York Times, or maybe it was Billboard or something. And Nirvana, their album, their early album there in the '90s, there with the kid floating in the
Yeah.
water
Yeah,
Yeah.
there,
never mind. Yeah,
just like the amazing. And you have holiday socks.
yeah.
I don't mean to go on a tangent.
Wow.
I don't mean to go on a tangent, but
That
I was
was
just I was
Nirvana
no,
socks.
hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I love this because so my oldest daughter, who's 21, she has a rare condition. She's in a wheelchair and nonverbal and all this kind of stuff. She just turned
Okay.
21, but she wears all kinds of just fabulous socks. That's her
True.
thing. Like,
That's
she
true.
goes to school, still goes to special needs school, all this kind of stuff. She wears socks all the time. And she's 21 now, so it would be highly
So,
legal
I
for
mean,
me to buy
yeah,
her socks, right?
Right?
totally.
Get her some still awesome
I,
socks.
my point, and I'm sorry that the tangent was whiplashy, but my point is that I've never seen socks on our stores,
Right.
and I'm loving that right now. So
Oh,
thank you for
thank
that.
you. Yeah, I think they have a new line of like dog toys and stuff too. You
Yeah,
can
well,
get like a plushy.
there's a plush dog toy here too.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
their merch game's on point right now. I'm
Gosh, I tell you, those socks. Oh man,
yeah,
I mean, I might not wear them to the high school, but my daughter will wear them to.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I might have to
Oh
pick
man,
up I may have to pick a pair of those. You may see a pair floating around. So that's fun. This is a great bourbon. I am pleased with this bourbon. This is great. Yeah.
This rye is I'm kind of shocked. I'm kind of shocked at how much is actually
awesome.
going on in this.
I'm loving this.
You know, I love rye, but I've had so much of it that I really know what rye is, and
Yeah, but I feel like I'm exploring even too.
but this
When you
this feels
Yeah.
brand new.
when you go into the restaurants, Sam, either the people the bartenders and that are friends and buddies, or when you're
Yeah.
going into a new space, what is your approach in terms of like the difference between making sure that they get still Austin into their collection, and then what's the education part? Like, how do you spend your time educating them about the bourbon? What do you lead with? Where do you go? What's important to you as kind of the brand representative in those places?
You've got an extra 3 hours to go through that, right?
That's right. That's right.
I mean,
Well, you're on
I-
fire
the-
tonight. Do we need to give you a little bit of Diet Coke to cool you all?
Oh, I love that. I love that question. Thank you. It really just depends on the setting. It depends on the account, their aesthetic, my how my rapport with the person I'm talking to. I mean, there's just some variables going into it. If I'm going in blind to really high end cocktail bar or something like that, and this bartender's got some accolades or something, I'm seeking this bartender out for a particular reason or something like that, then I'll definitely go in a little bit nerdier. I'll go in, I won't be afraid to divulge some like a little more specific details about everything, whereas if I'm going to a really high volume establishment that maybe I would like us to be on like their patio cocktail menu or something, where they're
Yeah.
going to be crazy busy for 4 or 5 months out of the year. I'm
Yep.
not necessarily going to need to go into all those details, and I'll more or less have to make a case for us to be in one of their faster moving cocktails, and why they should have us over some legacy brand that might be, paying them a lot of money to have that cocktail placement to begin
Sure,
with.
Yeah.
sure.
It really it just that's kind of the two extremes, really, the
Cool.
two ends of the spectrum, and then in between would be like your corner bars, where maybe the bartender is like kind of into it, but maybe not, but maybe they'll give it a try, and if they give me an opportunity, then I'll go in and support that best I can, and we'll see if it catches fire. If it doesn't, then I've done everything I can do, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a unique role. You have an educator role. You have a branding role. You have an expert role. You have a advocacy role, and all those things blend into, no pun intended, blend into
Yeah.
what you
Nicely
do
done.
on, and blend into what you do on a daily basis.
That's
For
a
so
point for
often.
you.
A point. I got a
There
point.
you
I
go.
love
You
it.
got a point.
I got a point. I got a point.
Do you find that you dress the part depending upon where you're going? When I was in the sales business, if I was walking into a C-suite, which I used to do on a fairly regular basis,
Yeah.
it was the full-on suit and
Yeah.
I would get a
Oh,
haircut the day before, my hair's perfect and the whole nine yards. And
yeah.
then 2 weeks later, I might be going to meet the owner of a farm and I'm showing up in hiking boots and blue jeans and a plaid flannel. Um,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah. That is something that over the years I've really worked to kind of be more conscious of and thoughtful about. I, if I'm going into a really high-end restaurant, I'm not gonna be wearing. I'm gonna be a lot. I'm gonna be dressed up a little bit more, and then as opposed to if I'm going to, some bar with loud music blaring, and there's 90s memorabilia up all over the place, then I'll be like, yeah, I can wear a flannel in here. I'm gonna be fine,
right, right.
and
Yeah.
Like I
and
remember.
on the flip side,
Go ahead.
well, I was gonna on the flip side, if I were to go into, that bar with the loud music blaring, all the 90s memorabilia, they might be a little off put, somebody coming in, wearing a blazer or something like
Right,
that. And I
Right.
right.
may have a negative experience, for
I,
being
With
dressed
that.
up.
I
So,
remember when I was first doing that job, I went to meet with the owner of a. Oh, your internet connection is unstable.
You can still hear us,
I
right?
think. Can you hear us? Okay.
I can still hear you. The screen's frozen, but I can still hear you just fine.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. We're good. We're good. It's probably freezing now at this point.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So, I was meeting with the owner of a firewood business, right? And I
Okay.
showed up in the full suit. I got a freaking briefcase in my hand, and
Yep. Yep.
talking to him about the stuff that I'm there to talk to him about. And at the end, he spent a good 2 hours with me, walking me around through the mud in my good shoes, showing me the business, showing me what he's doing, how he does it, meeting all of his people. And then at the end of it, he goes, "I like you,
Wow.
kid. Next time, don't even think about wearing a tie and get better footwear."
Yep.
I'm telling
Oh,
you.
I hear that. I hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes you
I'm
can
gonna
have
go.
a
I'm
really
gonna go
good
out on a limb
interaction with
here.
somebody. Just,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh yeah,
We
go
have a
ahead.
little bit of a
Yeah.
delay with the cold.
Well, I was just gonna say I've had really good interactions with people just because I wore a T-shirt they thought was cool, and then we
right.
just
Yeah.
kind
Right.
of
Right. Right.
hit
And
it
it
off from
brings
there.
that.
You
Yeah.
know, they like whatever band is on my shirt or something like that.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm not trying to butter you up at all or anything, but I really, really like this rye. I think this is going to rise to my top so
Well,
far.
thank you.
Yeah,
And I'm less,
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
discovering
that's awesome.
ryes as a taste for me. Like I said, Mark has always liked the ryes. I have two, but I'm more into them now than I used to be. And Sam, I really, really like this rye.
did
I
that
really
change?
do.
Well,
You
thanks,
know,
Did it
dude. I
change now that it's
appreciate
colder?
that.
I really do. It changed a little bit and it's
Do
cold.
you have any left
I
there?
don't have any left because I sucked it down because
Okay.
You should have some more.
I'm
Well,
just I don't I really enjoy that pour. I really do.
I would
And
swear
well,
that now
thank
that
you.
this is probably colder and open to the air for as long as it has been, that the flavor profile for me has changed.
so we used to do a thing on the show. So
100%.
if you listen to a couple of our seasons and leave us some
Yeah.
stars if you want. We used to do all the way up until probably even last season.
Yeah.
We would start the show and then go through the book and then we'd have the bourbon or whatever it was neat and then later on we would put ice in it. And we've stopped doing that.
No, and I feel like sometimes maybe we should go back to doing that. But
maybe
the reason why we stopped doing that is because we just liked it so much straight.
That's right. That's right. And we could play around with a little bit of distilled water or stuff like that.
You know, a little mineral water or something.
You mentioned your connection
sure.
with 129 Center Cut in Grays Lake, and we had done some tastings over there. I was with my wife for a dinner, and I can't remember. Oh, I can't. Maybe it was the Still Austin. Was there a special bourbon out there that was in a box that was really high end?
They may have gotten Tanager last year.
That might have been what it was.
Yeah.
And I went. My wife and I went for dinner, and then they had a special evening where you could, you paid $20 or whatever it was for the thing, and she did it first. She did it neat. And then she had some Peregrino or whatever, one of the bubbly distilled waters or whatever.
San Pellegrino.
Yeah, San Pellegrino.
Yeah.
And put that in there, and it was fabulous. It was that must have been it. That must have been Still Austin. That must have been Still Austin.
Yeah, I think
it must have
been.
been.
I think it was.
They had a special night where you could come in for that, and we happened to go on that night.
It was a whole package.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
That's awesome.
So now that's been
Cold.
sitting in the glass and it is cold. It's a lot sweeter, right? It's a lot fruitier. The depth of flavor has changed.
I bet. Yeah.
The spice is a little more subdued. It's still there, but it's kind of in the background, and the fruit is very much up front, and the kind of the chocolate or the cocoa is very much up front. And
Formula back here.
Yeah, back there.
I'm going in for a little more.
I'm
really enjoying
the
this.
finish is the cinnamon and the sandalwood. That's so weird.
Yeah.
But I love stuff like that. See, I just love that.
Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're probably going to bring this episode now to a close, and then we'll take a quick maybe potty break, and then we'll come into the oops-isode.
Okay.
Yep.
Did
you say potty break?
I did say potty break.
Edit that out.
I'm sorry. I'm a high school teacher. Well, actually, that's not that right. But anyway. So at the end of the show here, we give some final thoughts. So we're going to give you the honors of final thoughts.
Your students say potty break.
Never know.
I'm sorry.
Never know.
I'm kind of snarky tonight.
You're salty tonight.
I am salty.
You're salty tonight.
I apologize.
I mean, you are literally sitting out in the epitome of frigid temperatures right now, trying to record, I mean,
we're here.
You're doing awesome work in some serious conditions here.
This is colder than my dead grandmother's heart. You know.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Yep.
All right, Sam, give us some final thoughts.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me and for this opportunity and to thank you for really giving Still Austin a chance. I mean, this doesn't work without people literally like giving us a try and not just writing us off as some other like craft brand. So really thank you. That means a lot to us. And it's nice. I can bring that back to, the people that actually make it and let them know that somebody out in Grays Lake, Illinois likes what you're doing. That's really cool. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we love it. And
when we drop this episode, we'll let you know, right? So because we schedule it out, so this one will probably be somewhere in May or
probably about a month out. I'll let you know exactly when it's going to come out. It's going to be. Yeah, I think it's going to be May or June.
May or June. Well, so then that way you can have it for your, your scheduling, and if you have any marketing people that like to, blast that out to their stuff, we'll have it ready for you to go when we get it.
Okay.
Which is, it's going to be some interesting cognitive dissonance for the viewers and the listeners.
You're going to be freezing, but they're going to be listening to it.
You're going to be wearing shorts.
Watch it come out on
and here I am in the Kurt Russell parka.
That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Final thoughts from you.
Final thoughts for me is I love, we have talked to a couple distilleries that have very deep histories, right?
Yeah.
Still Austin is now the second distillery that is kind of in their infancy in the game. They're new, and I love the fact that these newer distilleries, particularly Still Austin, in this particular case, is innovating on the craft, is doing more things than the people have necessarily done before. Once upon a time, a good American whiskey, whether it was a bourbon or rye, was it was vanilla, caramel, smoke, and spice, and
Yep.
various levels of each,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
there are some grand old labels that still do vanilla, caramel, and smoke very, very elegantly, very, very with a certain amount of artistry, right? They do it very
For
well,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
But a couple years ago, I was at a tasting event where
Oh yeah.
where there was a very prominent label. Like that was the whole reason. That's how they got people to come out, was that you have the opportunity to try this label that normally nobody else you wouldn't have the opportunity to try because it's so expensive. And they
I
had
can
it
imagine.
yes, and
Yep.
they had it compared with a couple others.
Yep.
And there was, they have the highest price point and the middle price point and the lowest price point, and none of them,
Yeah.
none of them are going to be like on the bottom shelf, $25 at your local liquor store. They're starting at like $90 and then going up from there. And what was interesting for me was that the middle label, which was the same, was a variation on the theme of the bottom label. So it went up and they did a different kind of blend with it.
Okay.
Was, and you notice I'm not saying names, right? But
I think we all know who you're talking about, but you're being
I-
respectful, and that's
I will go
awesome.
as
Yeah.
far as to say that the middle label was a cigar blend, right?
Okay.
And there was so much more going on with the cigar blend, and even the one below it, that I thought that they were just as good, if not better, than the top shelf one,
Yep.
because they were
I
more
believe that.
interesting. They had more stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mean, if your palate only wants vanilla caramel smoke, then
Fine.
great.
Yeah.
Go and get this one. They do it perfectly every single time. But if you want innovation and variation and to kind of go back what your labels say, if you want music and artistry,
Yeah.
then you need to get with the times and try what's out there. What's
Oh yeah.
innovative.
Heck yeah.
The 100 exactly, and that's one thing that has been really cool to see. Just since I've been of drinking age, and then up until now, is just seeing how educated your average consumer's palates become. Whether it's food,
Same. Yeah.
whiskey, beer. I mean, I remember I used to have to explain to people what an IPA is.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And then
yes.
now
Yeah.
you go out and
Yeah.
people are very, very particular about, your beer menu should have 4, and I should be able to pick from these different,
Yeah.
Right.
And the same is happening in whiskey too. And I know the consumer, the whiskey drinker you're talking about, and I appreciate you being one of the ones that wants something a little more exciting, a little more
Yeah.
innovative, and something with more artistry and music to it. So
Good stuff.
thank you.
Right.
Well, my final thought
Yes.
is, holy crap, this is a good rye.
That's perfect.
And I also want to thank you too. My final thought is, I want to thank you, Sam, for for answering our questions when you met us at the Bourbon Fest, for when we came in this past year early and we had our mics ready to go, and you're willing to talk with us, and for giving us time from your evening to chat with us,
Oh, of course,
and share
of
the
course.
story of Still Awesome, because
Yeah.
and you're in the Chicago area, so one of the things we'd love to do is when we see you in warmer weather, we'd love to have you as a guest on the podcast, right?
Yeah,
A guest
be
host,
a guest
a guest
host.
host.
Absolutely.
Of course,
So
yeah.
you're close.
That'd be
You're close
fun.
by. We could do something and pick out a book and whatever, and then do a full episode in that respect because we have some ideas of where we want to have guest hosts who are authors, who are distillers, who are neighbors, friends, all this kind of stuff, and we'd love for you to be in on that as well
Okay.
for us. So we're going to close this off now, and then we're going to go on to the
Well,
Oops
that's
episode.
very nice of you. I appreciate that.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
that would be a lot of fun because then
Okay.
we could do some different bourbons too, and get your take on all the other ones that are on our shelf here.
I've got a final thought.
A final
Yeah.
final
A
thought.
final thought.
Yeah.
Life is all about experience, and it's experiencing and learning, right? There's a great old quote that from one of my favorite authors that I like, which is start learning or start dying.
Yep.
You're here on this planet to learn as much as you possibly
that.
can, right?
Yep.
Start learning or start dying. And so
Yep.
you can love the old labels, you can honor those old labels.
And you should.
And you can keep them as part of your
Yeah.
collection, right?
Yep.
But if you only ever try the same thing over and over again, my kid likes chocolate milk, but if all she ever drinks for the rest of her life is chocolate milk, she's missed a lot.
Yep.
And I think that's the same thing with the whiskey industry.
Absolutely.
There are so many new things happening. There's so much going on.
We know that well.
You have to explore. You have to see what's out there. Start learning or start dying.
I love that, and I couldn't agree more.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us once again here on Beards, Books, and Bourbon. And thank you to Sam Bergren from Still Austin Distillery for being with us tonight. Thank you, Sam.
Cheers.
Thank you, Sam.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Make sure you check us out wherever you download your podcasts. We are also all over social media. We are on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter.
Right.
We're on TikTok. We're all over the place. And wherever you download your podcasts, please join us. And this particular episode, when you're listening to this is a fantastic story of a fantastic distillery with a really, really deep and good product.
We're on Amazon Music. We're
Yep.
on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify.
All
We're
over the
on
place.
Downcast, Upcast, Incast, Outcast, Sidecast, Yourcast, MyCast.
That's right. That's right. And and it doesn't make any difference whether your hair is on fire or not.
or you're playing your hair like a musical instrument.
If you're not listening
Yes.
to Beards, Books, and Bourbon,
You're doing it wrong.
good night, everybody.
Good night. See,
That too.
tell me my tauntaun will make it to the first marker.
Yes, it won't. Yes.
Then I'll see you in hell.